Now it's time to talk about another hidden indie gem, or aka another independent animated project that you never heard of. And today we're going to talk about a Pan Pizza sort of special called Loki IRL, created by Pan Pizza. You may have heard of him because he's sort of kind of infamous, basically being sort of kind of a dark humor edge lord, but yet he does know what he's talking about when we talk about specifically animation. In fact, he's the one who sort of popularized the cartoon community to do better, because you see his videos, all his videos are sort of high maintenance, so well made, so well edited. He also so much well information learn about whatever subject matter of animation he does. Nowadays he's sort of trying not to do that much animation videos explaining. He does also video games or other little things, but you always go back to animation. But interestingly enough, all his whole career, he always wanted to make a indie pilot. That he didn't know when he should do it, he would be more popular or get another job. He's always sort of minor talking about it, till he just decided the last couple of years, screw it, let's do it. If I don't do it now, I never do it. So he decided to create Loki IRL. And this is interesting. This pilot is definitely his sort of style of work. Everything he learned, research, and make videos is shown on this pilot, because it's green Pan Pizza, that sort of early 2000 Y2K street sort of art style that he does all the time on his own videos, melted it to one specific pilot. Everything just works. Even that this pilot is a little strange, but yet it works so well if you see the whole pilot. Now, before I continue on, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, or sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, you like to help my channel, put a like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If not, that's fine. If you do, thank you, because I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I'm getting close every single day because of people like you. People put like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now let's continue breaking down of this new pilot from Pan Pizza. Now let's get started. Now, what is this pilot? Well, it's all about basically your OCs come to life and fight one-on-one on the streets, becoming sort of popularity context. Yeah, sounds a little weird, but yet sounds so familiar. It's because it was sort of inspired between Digimon, Pokemon, and JoJo Bizarre Adventure. It's sort of this sort of weird mix. In fact, one of those sort of commentary he did in the past is the fact when he started to make Loki IRL, he would realize he made basically the American version of JoJo. He had to restart over again to sort of fix and make it sort of unique and stand out. Now, it tell you this, the sort of very beginning to breaking down, because this is sort of strange, especially our two main characters will be Loki and Bianca, two sort of kind of YouTubers that is not the most popular ones, but they keep going out to do sort of streams and videos showing what they can do with Loki and Bianca, because they have fights to see who is the best OC. But interesting enough, you have more clicks, more views, more followers if you're sort of successful or something unique you do on that sort of fight. But this is the thing, this is why you compare it to sort of Pokemon or Digimon, because you have this sort of conversation with the OC, but the creator who created OC can give them power boost or creativity, how to punch, move, everything you connected to your OC. So if you fail, it's basically on you, because you don't know how to be more creative, more technique, how you move. You need to have that sort of confidence. But the ironic part is basically 2D or just animation in general is sort of dying with the new wave of rotoscoping, or this case AI, what's going on today. It feels like it was very spiral of what's going on in animation interesting. But this is an interesting part. Loki is a very likable guy, especially with voice on Pan Pizza, who trying to motivate Bianca to not give up. What are you doing this for? This is for the props, for the fame, or you do it because you like it. He also started comparing that don't be shy what you draw. Do what you can, what you know. Even you lack an experience, you could also evolve from that experience. Just don't doubt yourself. And that's sort of the conversation you have with Loki and Bianca, because Bianca is basically every single creator online not sure they're doing right, even that they do have talent, but that doubt really sinks in into them when they see the people judging her. Even that she doing her best, you feel that judgment. And I think that's sort of interesting because you do go into it with Loki and Bianca. You kind of relate to him, especially Bianca, because let's face it, everybody been in that sort of situation. But I love it how they spin that sort of connected to the fight. Usually something like Digimon and Pokemon, they usually don't go that deep of the trainer. Like usually it's the fight and the experience they got there, but you never really fully explore sort of like anxiety. That's basically the main point being a artist, being this fight. But the only problem is everybody treat them as losers because every single fight that's failed because of Bianca. But this is the thing I feel sort of my mouth sort of dropped, that Loki is the one who give her positive feedback, like don't worry, we can do better, just stick with the basics and we can come out of this as champions. Ironically they don't, but I love it, that sort of dynamic, how Loki is always positive, even that he's being sort of semi-realistic, just stick to the basics, will be okay. And Bianca like wants to listen to Loki, wants to trust him because he is right, but yet that doubt burns her. That doubt, every time there's a fight she froze, and Loki can barely do anything without Bianca. You have this sort of unique perspective of both of them, like why didn't bother, and Loki responded, well, you have to bother because this is the thing what we like to do. If we don't do it, why even bother doing anything? And that's sort of the interesting relationship of both of them. But I love it even more how the world building works. It feels something if you've been in sort of doing YouTube, the sort of strengths and weaknesses. For example, you have another Pacific character who is sort of the rival slash enemy of Loki and Bianca, called Monique, who is sort of a very famous streamer, but she's sort of struggling that she's supposed to be sort of the enemy from Loki and Bianca. But Monique is a very kind person who is technically the first one who decided to do this sort of different art style, that sort of rotoscoping, sort of becoming sort of JoJo, doing whatever you do, your OC does for you in the sort of fight sort of streets. But the only problem is that she's sort of struggling to get her numbers. Even that she was actually getting more popular once again, the people who were pushing her like it's not good enough. And Bianca like, I mean, not Bianca, Monique, like, what do you mean not? And that's the interesting part, because you understand Monique, you understand the struggle, you understand her, you've seen her online struggling to get numbers, even that she's a really good video content creator. And this is sort of the interesting, like, you don't want her kind of be defeated, you want her to push on also, but at the same time she's technically selling her soul in the company to get more views, even that you don't know the success would stay. And this is sort of the interior part. Should I cheer of Monique or Bianca, because both characters are very likable and interesting, and this is the thing that makes this indie party so fascinating, because you like all the characters, you understand the situation they put themselves, wondering what they should do. Especially you find out Loki has sort of a special curse technique who kind of boosts his own power if only Bianca allows it, or vice versa, because during all this pilot both of them are arguing what this curse is, a power boost or a curse, or both. Should we use it in the fight? But this is the problem. He does. Loki will sort of lose his mind and go berserk. And the question is, should we rely on this power boost? If not, why not? And that's sort of the breakdown. Because if they do, they rely on something that is not them. Should they rely on their own talents and just stick to the basic and evolve from it? And that's just so fascinating, interesting, because everybody who does YouTube or any other sort of job online has this sort of question to, should I use this, should I not use this? That's sort of more dilemma, make them sort of interesting and also fascinating, because let's face it, that is tempting to use, even that is not your basically main thing. And you finding sort of sad and interesting if they don't use it, they completely fail. Yeah, I love it how they all went not. They accidentally used the power, but last minute unplugged it, because if it did, they actually won the whole arena. But they choose not to, because at the very end, they did improve more than last time. So they give it that extra confidence, that extra proof, but yet you have that sort of doubt. Should I use it next time or use it at all? But especially what happened to Monique, who is failed and lost everything, but yet maybe she's sort of better off, because let's face it, she is sort of unhappy. And this is sort of interesting what's going on the whole pilot, that sort of struggle to become maybe popular or you just love the sort of medium. And that's just sort of the interesting thing, but all done sort of a respective look of a animator, and I truly love that. It is sort of interesting and different and very unique, because it allowed them to do a lot of experimental sort of drawings. And you do see this on this pilot, because every time you see a fighter looks completely different. Their OCs look claymation, CGI, paper mache, or any other different design of the of animation, and they show it. It showed the strength of their specific style of meaning of animation. And this is sort of the clever or interesting part of this party. It really show you the limit. But I love it more have the sort of rough edges of this animated party. It feels something from the 80s or 90s sort of art style. The sort of, well, let's push it even more, but yet this is sort of a minor take on it. Yeah, I love it so much, especially of all the art style, because let's face it, if you're a fan of Pan Pizza, he has that sort of kind of street sort of art style, the early 2000 Y2K art style. It's like a little smooth, but yet super edgy of the sidelines. They give it more impact. Now, also I have to mention the voice actors, because all the voice actors landed their part perfectly, especially Bianca and also Loki. Even that Loki is voiced by Pan Pizza, that I wasn't sure he should voice his own character, because he's not well known being a voice actor. You need to become an actor or know how to act to perform the character. But you know what? I have to give it props for Pan Pizza. His performances was actually truly kind of good. Not the best. You can see that sort of he's reading or acting sort of moments, but it make it work, because our Loki is sort of, I want to say kind of genie-ish, but less hyperactive. It's sort of like your uncle who's drunk, who you're questioning why he's here, but he still motivates you to do the right thing, even that you're not sure if the right person to motivate you. That's the best way to describe Loki, but yet they nailed it, especially how Pan Pizza plays that character. It feels sort of odd, but yet it works. And that's what the best way to describe the whole performances of this in the project. So it feels weird, odd, out of pocket, but yet it works so good, because it answers almost every single question of this world. Even that the very beginning, they had to break down really fast, because it's something that you need to hear from the creator's own point of view. What is this, to fully invest in it? But again, it works. I like the art style, I like the acting, I like the idea, especially I like the music. The music just slaps. In fact, in the credits, I just stayed there to listen to the music, because the music was actually really good. Hopefully Pan Pizza decides to give a sort of a free to give his free audio online, all his music tracks, because all the music tracks are actually pretty good. It just slaps so well, especially the music really aligned in the fight scenes. Some of the fight scenes music just perfect. It's just amazing. I really can't say much. I just have to say I highly recommend it. It's one of those out of pocket, out of surprise, highly recommend to watch, because it's sort of unique, especially if you know Pan Pizza like me. I'm a huge fan of him. I watch almost every single video he does on top of his podcast. It feels everything he learned over the years done here perfectly. His editing style, his art style, even his humor. But be warned, his humor usually is sort of edgelord, kind of too dark, and can actually turn you off. But this one, he never goes that far. He usually does it his best way to be positive type of humor or situation to make it interesting. So that's the thing. I'm sort of surprised he never really pushed that edge lord type of sense of humor he has. But who knows? Maybe he realized that wasn't a good idea and changed it up. Other than that, that's all I can say. How you felt about this? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.